to in facilitating decision making or to get rid of congestions or bottlenecks in an organization. Okay, you see, managers by means of adequate and effective communication, they receive and transfer information which enables them to solve problems and make decisions. So, if you got a piece of information, you should not sit on it. You need to share it with the concerned department so that proper decision making can be done. Okay, and if there are any congestions or bottlenecks in the process, it can be done away with. So managers, when they have a piece of information, they receive and transfer information to the other department so that can facilitate good decision making and getting rid of the ailments in the form of bottlenecks or congestion so that the progress of the organization does not come to a stop. That's the first function or basic function of communication. The next function of communication is the control function. You see, there should not be information overload anyway. Okay. So in order to stop that information overload, we need to have the control mechanism also in place. That means if you have a piece of information, it should be shared with the concerned people or the concerned person, and only that bit of information is to be shared, which is of the concern of the department. Because a department is not privy, should not be privy to all the information. Okay, but only to that information which is of paramount importance to that department. So, if you want to have all the information, you need to meet the concerned people regarding the policies, the procedures, the job descriptions, and so forth. Okay, and for all this, because you see, what happens is that we are not sorrow we are not we don't practice grief at our wrongdoings, but we're very happy if the other person has committed a mistake. We are very happy, we are very elated. Okay, so we are more bothered with the other person's progress rather than our downfall. Okay, so we make sure that the other person does not progress. We are like crabs in a basket. The person tries to progress, we get hold of him and put him down. That too, you're not going to develop. Okay, so a proper control mechanism is there that you don't disturb the policy, the procedures. I go, oh yeah, yesterday what happened is that I was sitting with the DOFA, Dean of Faculty Affairs, okay, and there was this faculty member. He was raving and he was ranting that, sir, I joined 2 years ago. This is my salary, but you see, a person who joined after me, he has got a much better pay package. I mean, why is it, sir? I need to be elevated. He's my junior. Okay, he's 2 years junior to me. How come he has got a better salary? So we said, Dopa objected. That, no, how did you get to know about it? He said, you know what? Uh, the peon brought his payslip, and what I had, I peeked into his payslip and found that he had a better pay package than me. See, sir, uh, if I didn't check it, I would never get to know that I'm getting a lesser salary compared to my fellow. So Mr. Dofa replied that, look, you should be concerned with your salary, your work. Why are you bothering what the other person is getting? Okay, to which again the person said, no, sir, I want work. Okay. Then Dofa said that, look, when you joined, did you negotiate with the management for the pay package? He said, नहीं हमको नहीं मालूम. I didn't know what was given to by took it. I said, wow. It's like you go to a market, you purchase some food stuff like mangoes, you consume it, and then you again go back to the store 2 years later. Yeah, the mango that you gave to 2 years ago was not good. What will the shopkeeper do? He'll give you a sound thrashing. So it took you 2 years to come out to bring it to my daughter. Okay, so please don't cringe. For all these things you see, for information overload, keyword is information overload. Okay, proper control mechanism is being put into place. Okay, so that a particular piece of information which is important to a particular person or a department, only that information is given to him or her. Okay, and if they've got any grievances, they can go to the grievance cell or they can go to the immediate boss. Okay, And here also communication performs the control function. Next is the motivation. Now, motivation refers to the fostering of motivation spirit among the employees, and effective communication is needed in setting, defining the clear goals and reinforcing the desired behavior. You see many times what happens that even an effective manager and an efficient manager might begin to underperform. Why? He might be having problems in the personal front or in the professional front, and he might not be able to balance the he might not be able to justify the work-life balance. Okay, and he might be consistent to that his junior has superseded him, so why should I work? So that sense of belongingness begins to erode away, and he begins to underperform. That okay, I do all the hard work and personally gets the promotion. So let him or her work. Why should I work extra? And this is where the management needs to step in and see that the people are properly motivated. So they constantly counsel, they give them pep talks so that they can their morale is improved and they can perform. And for this again, effective communication is required. Okay, so that clear goals are defined and the desired behavior is again reinforced. That they again come out of the shell and begin to perform accordingly. And the last function is emotional expression. It is the function of communicating, expressing or letting out the feelings and emotions of employees under various circumstances. Today, organization depends on team rather than individual for achieving set goals. You see, I told you that if you are disgruntled, okay, and the management has given you a job to perform, you feel that okay, the boss will give the work, I won't do it. I'll do it at my leisurely pace, and the department will have to bear with me. So today you see almost all the organizations that believe in the concept of group dynamics. Okay, or group work. Not all work is bestowed on one person. Supposing he might develop an attitude or he might lead the organization in the middle of the project and the entire work comes to standstill. So you see, a particular group is created where you have a group leader and there might be a team consisting of 5 people, 10 people, and they all perform in unison. Now, what happens many times a person uh, might feel the need to express himself or herself about the belief, the attitude of the other group members. So here the leader has got to make sure that he becomes a patient listener to the disgruntled worker or the team worker and gives him suggestions so that he can perform. So he becomes the punching bag so on which the team members can vent out the expression on. So that they have nothing heavy on their chest, they can vent out the expression, and once they are free of that guilt or expression, they can again perform. So you see, the manager has a team. So that is why you see the organizations today believe in the concept of group dynamics or teamwork. So that a leader, okay, if he finds that a particular person is down in the dumps, he can get into his shoes and perform. He can listen to him or her and doing a day's job for him. So these are the various functions of communication. Was this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We move on to now the roles of managers. Before coming to that, now we come to the different managerial roles. Okay. Now, in any organization, a manager has got different roles to perform, or they have got to wear different hats. Okay. Take my example that I belong to the Department of Managerial Humanities. So apart from taking classes, okay, I look after the purchase function of my department. I've got to make sure that Whatever indents have been raised by the faculty members, what are the requirements? I prepare a budget for that. Okay, and I raise that annual budget. And once the budget is improved, is approved, I indent the requirements of the faculty members. Like somebody might want a new desktop or a printer, okay, or they might require a software, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that all things are indented, okay, and then it's sent to the purchase department for approval. When it's approved, okay, the purchase order is taken out, and the vendor is told to deliver the goods within time. And once the goods are received, a GR note is issued, a goods received note, and the equipment are handed out to the concerned people of the department, and a stock register is maintained for that. Okay, so that is one role that I would perform apart from my academic load. Okay, then we as teachers we have got to do a lot of research work. We have scholars. Okay, there are some faculty members who look after uh, the summer projects of the students, the summer interns of the students. Okay, and you will through the sixth semester, you must have certain mentors. So there must be some faculty members in the department. Okay, under whom you have been appointed as mentees. So if you've got any personal problems, any professional problems, you meet your mentor and you discuss your academic and personal problems with him or her. We see there are so many roles which a manager needs to perform. Okay, day in and day out. So we can say that we also teach. Teaching is primary, but apart from teaching, because we are loaded with so many things, we can rightly say that we also teach हम पढ़ाते भी हैं. Because I was so many, but we're going to make sure that academics is primary and these things are secondary. Okay, so in any organization, these roles are broadly categorized under three heads: interpersonal, that is within the department, organization or within person, informational, and decisional. Okay, and these three heads, there are 10 different roles that a manager has got to perform day in and day out. So we'll discuss these roles one by one. The first one is interpersonal role. Okay, and under interpersonal, the first role which a manager needs to perform is that of a figurehead. Okay, is that of a figurehead. Now, as a figurehead, you see, uh, the roles that a manager needs to perform might be ceremonial or symbolic in nature. That means it's not called for a day-to-day duty. Okay, as a figurehead, for example, we have the head of department or we have the vice chancellor. They are the figurehead for a department and a university. Okay, so they don't partake in all the day-to-day activities. There are different people for it. But if you have a convocation for in the institute, so the vice chancellor, okay, he goes there as a figurehead. That means he's the head of the institution, and then we have a different departmental head. They are the figureheads of the respective departments. Okay, and over and above the vice chancellor of the institute, we have the chancellor, that is the governor of the state, who performs a symbolic function on that day during the convocation. So you see, a figurehead basically performs the duties which are ceremonial and symbolic in nature. Like we have a Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. Okay, he attends so many meetings, SARC meeting or the Group of Six meeting. Okay, so when he goes to those countries, okay, he does not go there on a personal capacity. He goes there as the representative or the figurehead of the country. He's representing the country as a whole. Similarly, we have got so many CEOs of different business organizations who come down to meet on so many issues. They come down on certain claims and they share certain expressions. So they are all performing the role of a figurehead. They only come down for a particular function or a speech, and after that, they're the juniors there or the other managers. They perform the day-to-day function. So that is what is meant by the figurehead role, which is normally symbolic or ceremonial in nature. The next role that is to be performed by a manager is a leader. Now, this is a very important role because people say that leaders are born. No, leaders are not born. Leaders are made. Because if leaders were born, Rahul Gandhi would have been a born leader, isn't it? So he's neither born or nor is he has he been made into a leader. Okay. Uh, no offense there. I shouldn't be targeting a particular individual. But you see, what we believe today that leaders are made. Leaders are made due to the certain situations, circumstances that people become leaders. So even in an organization, okay, an opportunity might present itself before you, and you fall headstrong into it, and you lead by example. So as a manager, you need to lead by example. Okay, if you cannot lead by example, then think out of the box. People will not follow you. So what you preach, you need to practice, so that people have a sense of belongingness. That yes, this gentleman or this lady is a true leader in spirit, and whenever you call them, whenever you give them any work, any suggestion, they pay heed to you. That is the role of a leader. Okay, so you are a person who leads the team, okay, or who carries the team with him to greater heights, and the company progresses, and the company grows, and so do you. So as a leader, you got to make sure that you listen to each one of them. You give each one of them a patient listening. You don't shout at them. You think out of the box. You have suggestions for them. Like we had a former Vice Chancellor, Dr. S.K. Mukherjee. The best Vice Chancellor this institute ever had. You see, he was open to all. Being a Vice Chancellor, he had no airs about him. That I won't meet this person, I won't meet that person. He was okay with everyone. He was open to all. And the biggest plus point that Dr. Mukherjee had is that the moment he began to speak something, that I have this problem, so there is their problem, he just close his eyes as if he's a rapt attention listening to them and say, look, why you always come with this complaint? Do you have a suggestion for it? Do you have a solution to it? If you say, yes, the solution for this is this, and this, and then part would come the question again. Can you act on it? Can you implement it? Will you give the desired result? I say, yes. You say, okay, go, get it done. Then and there you say, okay, get it done. So you had the backing of your vice chancellor or your leader that, yes, my boss has said that you have my support, we'll get it done. So that is what a leader is. He should support the activities of the people in the group. But then that activities should be uh, progressive and not destructive. Okay? And the third role that their manager needs to perform an interpersonal is that of a larger person. That means he acts as a go between the workers and the top management. He meets the people in the internal agency. He listens to them, whatever problems they have. He brings to them to the top management. He acts as a go between the external agency, the government, and the management. And okay, so the role of a liaison person is that he acts as a bridge between the management and the workers. He acts as a bridge between the government agencies and the management, between the different vendors and suppliers. So he acts as a go between the internal as well as the external environment. Okay, so that's a very tricky work which a larger person has got constantly liaison and get the best out for both the people, that means the government and the organization, the workers and the management and so forth. So these are the three roles that a manager could perform under the interpersonal role. Under information, there are three roles again: the monitor, the disseminator, and the spokesperson. Now, as a monitor, okay, you see, you got to the environment is very dynamic. It is constantly changing. So, and all the organizations you see, they need to do their SWOT analysis, okay, or the each of profiles have got to be checked, okay, and that have got to be addressed. Now, SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Okay, so different situations will provide different opportunities from for you. It will prove to be a weakness, it will prove to be a threat, it might or take you from a position of strength to a position of weakness. So as a monitor, okay, you've got to scan the environment, okay, for information, which will further strengthen your company, or what are the opportunities in the environment, okay, which will benefit the organization or to benefit the department, or how can these threats be converted to an opportunity and opportunity to a strength, okay, how can these weaknesses be got rid of? As a monitor, you've got to constantly be on the lookout for the changes taking place in the environment. And when the environment is conducive for those things, you need to change with that with the changes. You cannot be rigid that no, I won't accept these changes. Like when this pandemic thing happened, we had to shift from the offline mode to the online mode. Isn't to take classes because classes were a priority. It had to be held, and the institute began to search for different mediums through which we could address all the tools. We had so many sources. We had the Zoom, we had the Google, and we had the MS Teams. And we finally decided that we'll take classes. In fact, initially we took classes on Zoom, we took classes on Google Classrooms as well. But finally, we zeroed it down to the MS Teams platform, and we take classes on MS Teams, isn't it? So as a monitor, you scan the environment for the best alternatives available, the best piece of information available, and then you adapt to it and you adapt to it as well. But then again, there were so many people who are very rigid. Like, no, I won't take that classes online. I won't go for the Teams network. Okay, my habit is to go to classroom and draw everything on the board, and I'm happy taking class through chalk and board. But later on, when they realized that it's not a stock arrangement, but this arrangement is going to be for times to come, even they adapted to this online mode of communication, because that was the only way out. Then again, the monitors, the searchers for different alternatives. They provided them with whiteboards, okay, and with writing instruments so that the teachers didn't face issues in conducting online classes. So as a monitor, the role of a manager is got to constantly look out for new opportunities, okay, new avenues, new projects, so that the company prospers. Now, as a disseminator, now, once information has been collected, I told you, it has got to be disseminated within all the departments within the organization, so that it facilitates the decision making. Okay, so as a disseminator, once you have the information, you've got to share the information with one another, not keep it with yourself. Because if you keep all the information with yourself, communication will be deemed to be ineffective. The third role is that of a spokesperson. Now, as a spokesperson, again, you are representing the organization. You're speaking on behalf of the organization or the department. Okay, so you need to make sure that whatever information you have is very authentic and cannot be challenged by anyone, because you're speaking to the investors or to the stakeholders, or maybe to future investors, and you're sharing the financial health of the company. You're telling them about future projects, you're telling them about the future projections of the company. Okay, so in order to justify your statement, you need to have proper evidence for the same. As a spokesperson, when you share this information, it's important that the moderator and the disseminator have given you proper facts which can be shared by the outside world. Okay, that is with the current stakeholders, the current investors, as well as the government agencies and the future investors who are willing to invest in a company. So, as a spokesperson, you need to be well informed. You need to have accurate data. Okay, which can be used to justify the statements that you are giving out. So these were three roles under the information one: monitor, a disseminator, and the spokesperson. Then we come to the most important role. In fact, all are important. Under decisional, you've got four roles: an entrepreneur, a disturbance handler, resource allocator, and a negotiator. Now, as a manager, okay, you've got to constantly look for different projects or different ways of getting a particular work done. That means you've got to think like an entrepreneur, create a different work. Okay, there might be opportunities, you've got to grab those opportunities for the benefit of the organization. So instead of being a job seeker, you need to be a job provider. You could think out of the box. As an entrepreneur, with whatever resources you have, you got to come out with these suggestions how to modify constant research and development work has got to be done so that the organization prospers. Okay. Now, in any organization, there always be troublemongers who would resist those changes or who won't agree to the changes being about to be made. So, as a manager, again, you've got to make sure that these troublemongers or these disturbance handlers are kept at bay. Okay. The third role is that of a resource allocator. Now, I told you that as a person who looks after the purchase, I have got to allocate the resources that has been given to me with all the faculty members in the department. Now, as we are going through a very tough time, okay, our resources are limited because of financial constraints. We're told that we need to tear down our budget and so forth. So, if all the people are asking, somebody is asking for 10 sheets of exercise paper, somebody is asking for a new cartridge, okay, somebody is asking for a new printer, okay, if somebody is asking for 10 packs of sheets, I'll give it 3 and share the other 3 with the other person of the other department. If cartridges are being asked, I'll ask them to get refilled or get refilled for them because my finances or my resources, okay, are at an all-time low because due to this pandemic, we are facing paucity of crunch, we are facing paucity of funds. So I've got, as a resource allocator, I've got to make sure that whatever limited resources I have, I share it with all the departmental members of all the departments so that the work does not come to a standstill. Okay? And then the fourth role is that of a negotiator. So I've got to constantly negotiate with the vendors, the suppliers, the top management, the workers, okay, to get the best out from them for the well-being of the organization. So these are the 10 managerial roles that which each manager has got to perform. So was this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay, so this was for today. It's almost 12:45. See you all for the next class. Thank you. You all can leave then. Have you taken a snapshot
Thank you.
for it?
Yes, sir.